Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of She Coaches Coaches. I am so glad that you're here. I have one of my favorite clients on, and she is amazing. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Dina Berrin, and she is more than a tarot reader. She is a soulful guide, a vibrant storyteller, an author, a speaker, and an intuitive life coach. And in fact, she's a PCC. If you guys know coaching, you know that this is a big deal. She helps people reconnect with their true selves and make empowered choices from a place of love. With over 20 years of experience and a lifelong fascination originally sparked by her grandmother, Dina blends tarot, astrology, numerology, and charm reading into rich, transformative sessions. Whether in one on one coaching or hosting parties and lively gatherings, her warmth, wisdom, and magnetic presence creates a welcoming place to explore, grow, and dream big. Welcome to the show, Dina. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you so much, Candy. I'm thrilled to be here.
So, I am doing this because you have got a new book that is coming out. And as we speak, it's just being printed. But I know that when this episode is released, this new book is going to be released. And it is called, I'm going to let you call it out because it's your book and your baby.
It is The Way Within, Igniting Your Intuition with Sacred Tools.
You guys have to check that book out. It's really interesting, and it's a really different spin on using divination, and so you'll really like it. So, Dina, I got some questions for you today. The first is when you open the book, you've got such a heartfelt call to reconnect with ourselves. What was the moment you knew this was the book you needed to write and you needed to write it now?
Well, I would say I'm living in the universe just like the rest of us. So I feel as though I am picking up not only from the clients that I speak to every week, and that float in and out, whether they're tarot clients or regular coaching clients, but also in my everyday interactions and also in my own life. I feel as though we've gotten so busy and so focused on either our phones or the things that maybe don't matter, like maybe how we look on social media or things like that, that we have become more and more disconnected and confused by who we are, what we stand for, what our values are, and what really matters, like really matters when we get down to the nitty gritty of life. Like what really matters is health. What really matters is your family. What really matters is getting enough sleep and, allowing yourself to have space in the world. Just like, as we know, the world has been a little bit uncertain lately. I don't want to get too much into politics, but I feel like there's been a lot of rumblings and just a lot of uncertainty happening, and people are looking for a way to feel rooted. They are looking for a way to turn out the noise and get back to basics, pretty much. And I feel as though what better way than through our sacred tools, which
Mm.
connect us with who we are. And that's like the essence of my work, because coaching does that. But how I combine these modalities with coaching gets us so much faster to the importance, so we can get really to the heart of the work.
Yeah. So it's like a fast track, right? We get all these different modalities, and they come together, and somehow they create something magic that helps your clients move so much more quickly to that place of centered alignment. Yeah, I love that. So let's talk a little bit about your spark. You started with tarot and astrology and numerology and charms and just so many things. But you describe in the book that it was your grandmother originally, and that she was the one that ignited that path into astrology and divination. How do you see her legacy living on through you and through this book?
Well, it's funny. My grandmother had two daughters. My mom had two daughters. I have two daughters, and I also have a little bonus child, my son. So not to say, but I feel as though there's a huge feminine, like a strong woman theme in my life. And my grandmother was a Taurus. I am a Taurus. I just have to mention Candy, you
Yeah.
are a Taurus. And a lot of the main like the women in my life who have held very large, impactful roles have been Taurus. And had my grandmother not kind of opened the doors and begun introducing this to me and sharing this wildly helpful and interesting information with me, I mean, so many pieces of my life would not have come together in the way that they did. And so when I think about my grandmother's legacy, not only was she just an amazing woman, I mean, she was probably like maybe 4'10". I don't know. She could have been smaller. She used to wear those big wedged heels. She was so tiny, but she had such empowerment and confidence. And she was a teacher and everybody went to her for advice. And she was just like the wise woman. I remember even once, like I once took a crystal ball class and I bought a little crystal ball, probably the size of a golf ball. And I remember being taught just look in the ball, just look in the ball and, see kind of what comes up. So I was looking and then all of a sudden I saw my grandmother's face
Wow.
in the ball. And I just feel as though her legacy is her wisdom. And so, like, what the answer was for me, like when I saw her face in the crystal ball, and which comes up for me again and again, is what would she tell me? What advice would she give me? Like, what would she say? How would she, what would her take? What would her angle be on whatever it is that I'm bringing to her? And how can she kind of, like almost like in the way of coaching, show me a different perspective or give me a new way of experiencing a situation that maybe I am thinking as challenging, but maybe it's not challenging. Maybe it's just exactly what needs to happen so I can make the correct next move, kind of thing. So her legacy is don't leap before you look. Don't make any snap judgment decisions. I mean, Taurus are known to be stubborn. They're known to be rooted, but I also feel like a Taurus hates to be rushed. And that's me as well. Like I hate to be rushed to make a decision, but when I know, I know. And I feel as though her legacy is passing down that intuition and that inner knowing, and that I need to know that I can trust myself no matter what.
Mm. That's a real big message for everybody to learn to trust themselves and to stay rooted and to stay centered. I'm curious, do you have any idea where your grandmother got her inspiration?
You know, I don't know where she started that interest in astrology, but she was, I mean, because she was a teacher, she was always so interested in other people. Like she never wanted to talk about herself. She always wanted to talk about you.
Mm.
And I feel as though, I'm kind of that way also. I feel like I already know myself. I've already, had a million conversations in my head. Like I don't need to talk. I want to, like when I go into conversations and when I meet with clients, I want to talk as little as possible. I want them to fill in the blanks. I want them to have ahas. It's not my place to fill in their blanks because sometimes I've only known them for a short time. And I feel as though my grandmother, she's a teacher at heart. She's an educator. And I feel as though that comes with curiosity. And I'm a curious person too. I think that like in order to do coaching and any type of work like we do with other people, you have to have curiosity. So without a more in-depth knowledge, my guess would be her rootedness in the field of education. And our family was like they come from a long line of educators.
Mm.
And it's kind of like, yes, this is true, but why? So
Yeah.
asking kind of like more, it's like, I'm going to accept this answer, but like, could you give me more of a foundation about why?
Mm.
And maybe that
Mm.
was part of like, why are people like this? Why is this person so sensitive where this person couldn't care less, kind of thing. So it's just like, why do people act the way they do? Maybe it's because of their childhood. Maybe it's because of their place in their like what number child they were in their family, or what role, like were you the family class clown or were you the serious type A, kind of thing. It's like we all are different for a lot of different reasons. And I think that if we can begin to understand other people, we can begin to find a way to connect with them.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love that. And there's that saying that how to be the most interesting person in the room is to always be curious about what other people are doing and what makes them tick and really to show up for them. And truthfully, that's the heart of coaching, right? To be fully present for your clients, to show up and validate their brilliance, to really see them, and to really accept them for who they are and to sort of hold that higher version of them while they're growing into it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also kind of pointing things out. Like I've had clients say the word yes to me while they're shaking their head no. And I'll say to them, can I just point something out to you? I noticed that when you said yes, you were gesturing no. You want to explore that? Kind of thing. So I feel as though, and they'll be like, I did?
Yeah.
Yes, you did, kind of thing. So it's like we are
You can
also
go and look at the recording and you can see it. Right?
exactly. So sometimes people, and or I'll repeat the words that they said back to them, and I'll hear from them, did I really say it? I said, just like that. I wrote it down, kind of thing. And I feel like that is also like I'm a mirror. And
Mm,
so are all of these modalities that I work with. And
yeah.
that is why I feel like these two, like doing the intuitive work with the coaching, is such a natural pairing because we are here to just dig deeper, find out why, and have a ha's so we can be better the next time.
I love that. There's a whole new coaching school in there somehow, right? The
The
blending
coaching full of
of the
mirrors.
ancient arts with with the coaching skills. There's a whole new thing there. So there's a place where you talk about divination, and that divination isn't fortune telling. It's not like the fortune teller that has the neon light outside their window. It's storytelling. So, how did writing this book, how did it help you tell your own story differently?
Well, I feel that everyone goes through their own kind of like gateway to finding this. And my gateway, although I was always interested in astrology. Like my grandmother introduced me to astrology earlier, and I was always like, if I grew up in New Jersey, and I would go to the boardwalk, and I would beg my mother, please let me go to that lady who's got the sign saying she'll read my palm. Or my mom was like, let's go, we're not stopping here, kind of thing. I always was like, what would they say? I'm just so interested. And but I feel like I what really kind of was my pivot point was, maybe you're familiar with the astrological phenomena of the Saturn return. And Saturn takes about 28 and a half years to go around the sun. And Saturn is the planet of work. It's the planet of growth, and it's not always easy. So when you go through your Saturn return, it's a big time of shedding. It's a big time of like coming into that next version of you. And I would say that what really happened was like my aha, like my big moment of like seeing myself happened right around my Saturn return, when a lot of these structures of my life were falling away. The structures of my first 28 and a half years of my life were falling away. And I felt like I was almost in free fall.
Mm,
And what caught me was a tarot class. And this tarot class was the beginning of like this huge light that went on. I did not realize it was like there was a door. Maybe it was even within me that had been like locked and bolted and sealed and not available. And then all of a sudden there was a crack. So I opened it and I went in, and inside was so much light and knowing, and the answers to things that I just either was maybe too afraid to ask at an earlier point in my life, or maybe things that I just didn't want to know. But it began to like start unwrapping and unpacking the things that maybe I hid away for a long time.
Mm.
And just first of all, getting to know myself and then realizing, wow, if this did this for me, like I could help other people do this because not everybody is interested in, venturing into the cave. They want you to kind of give them a tour of the cave and just kind of give them a little gift at the end kind of thing. So I felt like, you know what, I can do all the work and then I can find a way to communicate this and share this information in a very digestible amount that they won't feel like, they've just been thrown up on, but they can take it and then use it. So my first spark was my own traveling in the dark. And
Yeah.
then I realized that not only can I travel in the dark, I can also be the one that carries the light. So
Yeah.
when we enter the dark, I carry the light. So I
Yeah.
do see myself as the bringer of the light. So I see myself as a storyteller. I'm not trying to make this scary or intimidating. I'm trying to open your way of seeing yourself. I want you to forgive yourself. I want you to connect with yourself. And it makes life so much easier, so much easier. It's a gift you
Mm.
can give yourself, especially in times like we're in now.
I love that. And so you're kind of like the person who carries the flashlight or the lantern as you
Or
give them a
lantern. I don't
tour
want to
as
carry
you
a
give them a
flashlight. I want to
tour
carry
around the
an
cave.
esoteric.
So let's talk about the tools. In this book, we talk about tarot, we talk about numerology, and we talk about charms. Which one do you reach for most these days, and how come?
Okay, well, I will tell you that I always joke when I work with clients, I say I speak two languages, English and tarot. Tarot
Okay.
is like my second language. I know it like the back of my hand. It is like if someone says to me, "Oh, I'm having a total Three of Swords moment," I'm like, "I get it. Okay, what's happening?" Kind of thing. It's like if a tarot friend of mine reaches out to me and gives me like a card that they're dealing with, I'm like, "Okay, let's get on a call," kind of thing. But honestly, they all work together because the cards have numbers and the numbers have meanings. And I find that like what I do now, I do pull a card every day. I've been doing it for many, many, many years. And I always have my card. And then what I do is the charms are like a little extra message. It's kind of like that little, like, when you wrap a gift and the gift looks nice, but it would look really nice if there was a red bow on it. And
Yeah.
to me, the charm is the red bow. It kind of just like finish it all off. And it doesn't take long. It's like to me now, all I need to do, I see the card, I pull the charm, I see the charm, I read them individually, and then I kind of do the weave. I weave them together to give myself a message of the day, something to work with, to think about. And then I take a picture of it. And then at night, before I go to sleep, sometimes I don't even remember the card and charm that I pulled. And I'll go back and I'll be like, oh, and how did that reflect my day kind of thing. And so I feel as though whether it's the card or the charm, sometimes it just like locks in a message. So I always love the cards, but the charm, if you're in a rush, is the fastest.
I love that. There's something that you do that's different. And so for the listeners, you guys, what Dina described about pulling a card in the morning, reflecting on it, pulling a charm, then taking a photo, and then reviewing it in the evening. She goes through exactly how to do this in her book. So if that sounds like a really interesting way of using divination as a guidance tool for your day, this is a really great spot. There is something that you do differently, Dina, and it is the blend. That's the way I see it. Is there's lots of people who read cards, tarot or oracle or something. There's lots of
Lenormand.
people who do numerology and use that. There's lots of people who use astrology and do that. They're kind of these each of these practices has got so much depth to it. And the deeper that you go, the richer and the more interesting it gets. But what you do is you've got the depth, but then you also have like the bridge. So you blend them together in a way that I think is really powerful and also really unusual. Like I've talked to a lot of people and I don't know anybody else who blends them the way you do. And I know you do this, but I don't know if you know how cool it is that you do this. Like that it's a really unique skill to do that, right? Do you realize that?
It's funny. Yes, and so the thing is, I'm a Gemini moon, and I my brain is always going, and I feel as though when things come up, a million things come into my head. And so when I see something in a reading, like I'm like, oh, it could be this, it could be that, all these things. So what happens is if I add a little numerology and I add a little astrology and I pull a charm, sometimes I'm like, oh, did you see that message got repeated? Did you see it got repeated again? So all of a sudden, what I see is when messages start repeating, I'm like, do you see? The universe is telling us this is it. Like sometimes people will come to me for what they think is their theme, and I'll do a reading and I'll say, I know you think that's what we're here to talk about, but the cards and like all these, like all of like how I work, it's saying something different. And I'm going to share this with you. And I want you just to listen and I want you to sit with it because if you can hear this, you can change this. Because I
Mm.
feel as though people are very much creatures of habit. They have a routine, they have a way that they always have done things, and like they don't want to change it. And I feel as though if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you are happy with the way things are, then you just keep doing what you're doing. But if you want to jump out of your box, if you want to, instead of always seeing blue, if you want to see green or yellow or orange or pink or whatever, that is why I am here. I am here to change the lighting. I am here to give you a new angle. I am here to show you something that, maybe you know a piece, but did you know all these other things? And they all, because I feel as though like we're a puzzle. We are not one big chunk. We have all these pieces of us, like just like we have 10 planets in our astrology that we look at. We have a lot of things that make us who we are. We communicate a certain way. We love a certain way. We think a certain way. Some of us are very guarded. Some of us will tell the world their life story. Everybody's different. But the thing is, we need like just because you are a certain way doesn't mean that you always have to be this way. So, I have clients that are like, yeah, you know what? I never started my own business, so I can't. Like, I don't know how. I'm like, all right, but like one time you didn't know how to walk, but you had to figure it out because otherwise you would never be like anywhere because you'd just be sitting on the couch all the time, right? So it's like you have to be like, I maybe don't know how to start a business, but there are plenty of books and podcasts and, you know, YouTube videos and a million other ways you can learn how to start a business. The question is, what kind of business do you want to start? What do you want that to look like? What do you want that to feel like? What would your role be? Like maybe you want to be the front man and you don't want to be the accountant in the back room. You can hire someone for that. So it's like all these things that people decide in their head, is there like this is me or not? I've decided that life is not black and white. There is many, many, many shades of gray. And I am here to show you all the ways that you can be different if you want it.
And so that's where the blending comes in.
Blending comes in, yeah.
But then there's a piece here that is hard to describe. It's like when I cook, if I'm going to cook a different recipe, something that I'm not familiar with, I find the recipe. I was going to say I find it in a cookbook, but actually I don't. I find it online and I look at the ingredients and I say, huh, that's interesting. I don't have those three spices in my cupboard. So now I have to go and I have to find those spices. And then what I learn after when I cook the recipe is even though it's chicken and veggies and some kind of starch and some kind of sauce and all of that, but there's something with those spices and the way they blend that makes it. Like if somebody's looking at I don't know, like a really great pasta recipe, for example, the way it blends is the thing that makes it special, not the fact that you've got, you know, some kind of pasta, some kind of sauce, some kind of, cheese, perhaps some kind of protein, right? It's the blend of it that makes it. And I think that's the thing that you do that's very unique that I don't see anywhere else. We
It's like
have
a flavor.
decided,
It's my special
yeah,
flavor.
yeah, exactly. So we had decided when we started recording that you were going to give a gift to the listeners. You're going to pull a card to sort of a universal question and tell people what you see.
Okay. So do you want to be my, you can, well, usually what I do before I pull a card, and because I'm not doing this alone, I'm doing this with you, I'm going to give you some jobs. So I'll get you involved in it as well. So since you told me I'm going to pull the card, I've been shuffling the cards. So your first job is going to be to tell me when to stop shuffling the cards.
Okay. When?
Okay, great. And the second thing I'm going to ask of you is to give me a number between 1 and 10, the first number that comes to you.
7.
7. Okay, so I'm going to count down 7 cards from the top.
And
1,
so if you're listening to this, you can listen, but you can also watch this on YouTube live.
6. Okay, so we pulled the 4 of Pentacles. But before we talk about the 4 of Pentacles, I'm going to talk about the number 7. So for me, so each number has a little message. And for me, the message of the 7 is about choice. So I'm going to ask you, Candy, and I'm going to also ask all the listeners that are here right now, how do you feel about making a decision?
Mm.
Is it hard for you? Do you sometimes wish that you had like a formula that you could make a decision and you knew that it would be the right decision?
Yes, and it's that there's something about the decision. Like once I decide, it's easy, but in the leading up to making the decision, it's like I don't want to let go of all the different opportunities and all the different possibilities. And so I might stay in that place of indecision longer because I'm really fascinated with the other opportunities. And then when it's time to decide, then I decide.
All right, well, I'm going to help you make this decision faster and
Okay.
feel confident about it. So there are 3 parts to this. So all of these 3 things must be in alignment in order for this to be a yes. If these 3 things are not present, then it's a no, and you move on until the next thing fits these 3. So the first thing is you must make the decision. Sometimes we feel like we want to ask someone, we want to get confirmation from a family member or a best friend. The decision has to be yours. So if you alone can't make this decision, automatically it's a no. The second part of the decision making is timing. So if you are being pressured for time, like they say, hey, Candy, I know it's noon on Friday, but you have until 2 to make this decision.
Hmm.
And everybody's waiting. Everyone's tapping their toe and looking at their watches and like wondering when you're going to decide. Can you like, we'll give you till 2, but we really want you to know now. We really want to know as soon as possible. Like probably, and you're like, well, I kind of need to sleep on it. I kind of need to think about it. Like 2 hours is not enough. Like if someone is pressuring you and the timing feels uncomfortable, or like you're like, I don't know kind of thing, then it's a no. The timing has to work. Like someone has to say, can you give me a decision, Candy? And you say, I need to sleep on it. Can I tell you on Monday? And if they say no, I need to know today, then you say, then it's not going to work. So first thing is you have to make the decision. Second thing is timing has to work. The third piece, and I'm going to need your help with this as well, Candy, I want you to tell me something. And also I want the listeners to think of something that they love, something that makes them so happy. That could be the beach. That could be going to an art museum. That could be playing basketball. Like what is something that like, no matter what, it always is a yes to you?
Yeah. Okay.
Can you
Got
tell
it.
me something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. My dog was. Yeah.
Your dog. Okay. So what was your dog's name?
Her name was Tofino.
Tofino. So when you think of Tofino, what comes up?
Hmm.
How
Just
does that feel?
just a really gentle spirit, really loving and very tuned in and always present.
Okay. That feeling is your yes.
Hmm. Oh, cool.
So here you gave me the number 7. Here's what has to happen when you make a decision. First of all, you need to decide. Second of all, the timing has to be right. And third of all, it has to feel like Tofino.
Okay.
And if it feels like a knot in your chest, or it feels like you could throw up, or it feels like, you could jump up, it's not a yes. So you have to pay attention to how your body is responding. So if all of those are yeses, then it's a yes. So that's what the universe wanted you to know. When you decide for you. Now we're going to move on to the card. So sorry it took so long, but I feel like this was really important. And I feel like once people know what their yes feels like, it changes everything. Like, think of
Yeah.
the things that you have said yes to that don't feel like a yes.
Yeah, right?
And if
Tons.
you had just paid attention, you could have avoided so many things, right?
Right, right.
Okay. So now we got the Four of
Pentacles.
Pentacles. The fours are often very like fours are very like they're squares. They're very like people like to know what they're going to get. And here in the Four of Pentacles, if you see pentacles are that which have value. And if you notice, this guy has both of his feet on his pentacles. He has a pentacle crossing his heart, and he has a pentacle on his head. And he is, sitting here just trying to control everything. And to me, this Four of Pentacles is the card of the micromanager. And I'd say that a lot of things are being held up by maybe a lack of willingness to delegate or to trust other people. And so if you are in a place that, and the thing is, like, I feel like this person cares so much about the outcome and that they are blocking their feelings. And how can you know what you value if you can't figure out how you feel?
Mm.
So I want with the message that the universe is telling me with this Four of Pentacles is saying, let go of the cookie cutter perfect outcome that you are expecting and allow it to flow so you get the value. So you find something that gives you something that you really want to build on and that you can really care about.
Cool. And I love it because that really applies to me, but it also applies to every listener, right? Every person that listens to this episode, it's time for you guys to just sit and think for a minute. Where does this apply to me? How is this true for me, right?
Want me to pull a charm?
Sure.
Okay. So here's my charm kit.
Yeah,
And I have like 100 charms in here. Filling them all over the place. So, and I'm just gonna, I don't look. So with the charm is it's here. The charm doesn't pick you. I mean, you don't pick the charm picks you.
right.
Okay. Ah, I pulled a
Oh,
heart.
cool. Yeah.
Does a harp bring anything up for you? Like what do you think of when you see a harp?
Angels.
Angels,
Yeah.
spirit. So what happens when you slow down and stop trying to micromanage everything is that's how spirit reaches you.
Right.
And I feel as though like harp is like the music of the angels, but it's also to me like very calming, very peaceful, very like you don't see a harp at a heavy metal concert. You don't see a harp like it's like one of those very like special, unique like experiences. And so I feel as though it's also saying slow down so you can have this special experience. And maybe the universe is already trying to talk to you, but because
Yeah.
you're so busy, you're not, because the harp is not like an electric guitar. It's not loud and, on amps. It's almost like water trickling and things like that. So allow yourself to be in a calmer, more nature-based setting and see what comes up for you. Like there are maybe messages that you're not able to receive because you're so busy with your noisy, heart blocked life.
Yeah, right? Cool. I love
Yeah.
it. Thank you. Oh, that's fun.
But
Yeah, super fun. And lots for me to think about.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for, I
Thank
can take a
you.
picture of that. I'll send that to you.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thanks. And I'll put that picture as well on the episode notes as well, so you guys will be able to see that too. So let's go back to the business and the book and the business. So, what surprised you about writing your book? What was it about that that was different than you expected?
Well, I feel as though I had an idea, but I wasn't fully sure exactly how it was going to look in chapters and to to break it up. So I felt like I usually work on a really creative plane. I say what I'm thinking. I'm very intuitive. I'm very in the moment and curious. And sometimes I'm like, oh, we'll try it this way. And the thing is, but with the book, it's like you have to commit and you have to move forward in a very logical and consistent way. And so I sometimes like to dance in the moment, and it's the book required a lot of focus and thought, and like what came first and in what order and how did I want to explain it. And it was a lot of thinking and not as much creating in the beginning.
I love that. Okay. And what are you going to do with it? What's your plan? How are you going to use this book?
Well, I feel as though this book it's like a beginner level book, so it can be a gateway for anyone. So I want everyone to have access to it. So in addition to it being available on Amazon and on Audible, I mean, when I do speaker events, I will bring it and pass it out to my audience that is interested in it, and I will bring it as a little gift. When I do a lot of events in New York City, and a lot of times I get close to the hosts, and we stay in touch, and I feel as though I really want to give back. Like I really am. I'm like an overgiver. I like to give back to people. I want people to remember their experience. I want them to have that special little like interaction that we had. And I feel like if we didn't have a chance to pull a charm or do a card or whatever, the book is a great way to see what I'm about.
Yeah, yeah. And it not just see what you're about, but also how people can learn how to use this for themselves too. Like
Yes.
it's a double gift, right?
And it's very, it's not as scary and as intimidating as people think. I mean, I know that when I learned the cards, I teach them differently. I teach everything differently than how I taught it. I mean, I know I can go 20 layers deep with these cards. I mean, I know them backwards and forwards, and I'm grateful for that. But you don't need to know it like that in order to get a message, in
Right.
order to have it have meaning for you, like for today.
Yeah. That's cool. I love that. So you've done something that's really different. I think that 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs that I know dream of writing a book, but you've actually done it. And so many of them get stuck in confusion and really feeling overwhelmed. And so it stays as a thing of, I would love to write a book one day, but many of them just never get there. So what would you say to somebody who's on that fence that they've been dreaming about doing it for a while? What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I didn't do it completely alone, which I feel was a huge support to me. I wanted that, I needed that, and I was very lucky to have that available to me and you. Um, but for someone who is just getting started, like I would get back to, I think of like that Simon Sinek talk. It's like, what's your why? You know, what is it? Like everybody has a special sauce. Everybody has a unique quality and something that no one else can do like they can do in the world. And we would all benefit from knowing like everyone's special thing. Like I would love to just learn everybody's special thing. And so what is it that like you're like, I want to shout this from the rooftops. I want people to know that like this is a thing and they could do this. And because I think that sometimes like we get excited to start, and then when we realize how much work is involved, a lot of times people kind of slowly peter out. It's kind of like that New Year's people join the gym, and then by like January 15th, half
Yeah.
the people have, decided they're not coming back kind of thing. And but you need to, really decide, is this something that you are committing to? And if you are committed, so I think you need to know your special sauce and what it is that you want. You need to commit to it. And then you need to show up consistently for yourself because you're not doing this for anyone else. You're doing this for you.
Mm.
And I feel as though that's what it is. Just like, people don't lose weight until they lose the weight for themselves. People don't quit smoking or quit drinking until they want to do it themselves. And that's what I would say. Like, what are you committed to? Who do you want to be? Like, who do you want your future self to be? Like, what do you want to look back and be like, wow, I remember that day that I decided I was going to wake up and, walk a mile, and now I'm running 5 kind of thing. It's like,
Mhm.
what is it that's going to spur you on? Like, what is your why?
Yeah. So connect with your why and also have support. One last question. When you think of your book sitting in your hands and it's sitting in the hands of a reader and they turn that last page of The Way Within, what is the one transformation that you hope you've sparked in them?
Well, I hope they see their specialness. I hope they see, I know that I work with a lot of people sometimes who've been beaten down by life and they have stopped like that fire inside they don't bring logs to it anymore. They don't want to keep that fire going. And I want to inspire people. I want to let them know that I see them, I'm cheering for them, and that there's nothing that is, oh, it's like you can take everything one little bite at a time. You can do it one little step at a time, and you can do amazing things. So I am happy to be that gateway. I'm happy to be the one to carry the light and to introduce them to this. And if they want more information, I 100% have that for them. But just like allowing themselves, like I feel like everyone's a tight little bud. Allow yourself to bloom. Like get to know yourself. Like there's so much within the relationship with yourself that I feel as though the world would be such a better place if we all just loved ourselves a little bit more.
So, listeners, how will you go forward? First, I highly recommend that you go and grab Dina's book, The Way Within. It's on Amazon. You can do the Audible, you can do the Kindle, you can do the paperback, any old way. And Dina, how can people find out more about you?
I have a website, which is my name, dinaberrin.com, but I'm also on YouTube and I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Oh, excellent. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening this week. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. And I appreciate you. I appreciate that you listen each and every week to me. I want you to know that I'm here supporting you and thinking of you and that I love you. And thank you so much for your time. Have a great week.